A society can be rich, but collapse. Most of the time, it doesn't come from running out of money. Collapse comes when people stop trusting and stop believing in each other. And here's the strange part. This wasn't something modern economists told us first. A man who lived 1,000 years ago said it. Money is a belief system. Adam Smith, Marx, Aristotle. They're often taught like the classic trio of economic history. But there's a truth the Western curriculum often skips when it comes to the Middle Ages. Before capitalism, before central banks, before derivatives, algorithms, and hedge funds. A Muslim scholar gave a warning that echoes in every financial crisis today. If money loses its moral compass, society rots from the inside. What we call crisis today, he traced back to a single root: trust. In this video, we'll explore Al-Ghazali's ideas about money, trade, and the state, and compare them with modern examples, from inflation and speculation to inequality debates to the fragile trust that holds money together. And if you enjoy videos where money, power, and history collide, don't forget to subscribe. Let's clarify who we're talking about. Al-Ghazali, more commonly known as Imam Al-Ghazali, was born in 1058 and died in 1111. In medieval Europe, he was also known by his Latinized name. Al-Ghazal was a Persian Sunni Islamic scholar, a jurist, a mufti, a philosopher, a theologian, a logician, and also a mystical thinker. His contemporaries called him Hujat al-Islam, which means the proof of Islam. But in this video, we won't approach him as only a religious figure. We'll approach him from a different angle, as an early system analyst, someone who read money and markets through human nature. So let's go back to the 11th century. Two worlds. Europe versus the Islamic world. Europe at the time, fragmented. Poor, feudal. Cities are small. Trade is limited. Money is not at the center of daily life. Wealth is defined more by things like land, loot, war, conquest. But in the Islamic world, the rhythm is completely different. From Al-Andalus to Iran, from North Africa to Central Asia, large cities, crowded markets, long-distance trade networks stretching across continents. Baghdad, Damascus, Cairo, these aren't only cultural centers, they are also commercial centers. Caravans move through the spice route and the Silk Road, carrying silk, spices, textiles, silver, and society becomes richer and richer. Can a civilization get rich faster than it gets wise? And here is where the problem begins. A society can become wealthy, but if it loses balance while becoming wealthy, wealth can stop being a reward and become fuel for collapse. Al-Ghazali senses something is going wrong. He imagines a different world and notices the inversion. Markets are growing, but meaning is shrinking. Money is increasing, but the sense of justice isn't. People get richer, so they should become better, right? But instead, they become harsher, more suspicious, more hungry. And it pushes him to ask a question most people are afraid to ask. What happens if a civilization grows richer faster than it grows wiser? To answer that, he turns his attention to the core: money itself. Money is not a god. It's a tool for Al-Ghazali. Money is not an end. It's not something to worship. It's not a status idol. Money is a tool, a bridge that makes exchange possible between members of society. And to explain this, he uses a powerful metaphor. Money is like a mirror. A mirror is not valuable by itself. Its value comes from what it reflects. Money is the same. Its power is not in the shine of gold or silver, but in what it enables people to do: to trade, to build, to cooperate. This is Al-Ghazali's difference. He doesn't treat money as only an economic object. He treats it as a psychological and moral force that shapes society. Because when money changes, human behavior changes. And when behavior changes, civilization changes. Hoarded money is dead money. One of his most striking lines is, hoarded money is dead money, meaning wealth locked in chests, hidden in rooms, buried underground, is not only useless, it is socially destructive because an economy lives through circulation. If money doesn't circulate, workers can't find jobs. Trade slows down, production weakens, and most importantly, people start losing trust in each other. Now let's bring this into today. Is the problem always lack of resources? Or is it sometimes the blockage of circulation? Al-Ghazali's intuition is clear. Scarcity doesn't always come from not having enough. Sometimes scarcity comes from flow being blocked. Then he moves into another issue. Speculation. He is harsh toward merchants who manipulate prices, create artificial scarcity, and turn crisis into opportunity. But let's be clear, Al-Ghazali is not against profit, not against trade, not against wealth itself. He does not demonize money. His target is something specific: earning without producing, earning without contributing, making money without adding value to society, using other people's desperate moments, playing with information advantage, turning crisis into personal profit. He doesn't call that intelligence. He calls it corruption. Because for markets to function, there is one foundational condition: trust. If there's no trust, contracts don't work. If there's no trust, trade doesn't work. If there's no trust, money doesn't work. Today we call this information asymmetry, moral hazard, and similar terms. But Al-Ghazali says it without jargon. Markets are human relationships, and what holds relationships together is trust. Small cheating becomes the first domino of a big collapse. The psychology of collapse. If I'm honest, I lose. Al-Ghazali highlights behaviors that feel painfully familiar today: short weighting on the scale, hiding defects, lying, manipulating information. They look small, but for him, they are not small. They are the first link of the chain. Because a society eventually enters a psychology that sounds like this: if I'm honest, I lose. And once that psychology spreads, the market turns into a table of wolves. Because the economy isn't only prices. The economy is also a psychological climate. If the climate is honesty, growth happens. If the climate is cunning, collapse begins. The value of labor. System design, not a moral lecture. Another core idea: the dignity of labor. For Al-Ghazali, work is honorable. Money earned through effort builds character. But money accumulated through manipulation rots a person from the inside. This isn't just moral preaching, it's system analysis. Societies become strong when people produce. Societies become weak when people exploit. If a system rewards trickery instead of work, talent leaves production and goes into the game. And in the long run, that eats society from within. So the question becomes, does today's system reward real contribution, or does it reward short-term games? Al-Ghazali's answer is direct. Wrong incentives do not produce right outcomes. The most critical part: the state and money. Now we arrive at the most critical point: the state intervening in money. In the Middle Ages, rulers sometimes expanded the budget by reducing the gold or silver content of coins. They would lower the purity of the currency and release the same money into the market at a cheaper value. This is a hidden tax, an early form of inflation. Al-Ghazali calls it openly theft because it reduces the money in people's pockets without asking them. And worse, it breaks trust in the market. Because the moment society senses this, the thought appears: even the state can deceive me. And once that happens, Dominoes begin to fall. His prediction is shocking and timeless. If the state plays too much with money, the public loses trust, abandons that currency, and escapes to what it sees as more solid. A society can endure poverty. It cannot endure corruption. One of Al-Ghazali's harshest lines is, "A society can endure poverty, but it cannot endure corruption." Because corruption doesn't only steal money, it steals the future. It steals the will to work. It steals the meaning of rules. It steals the value of justice. And in the end, it snaps the invisible thread holding society together: trust. Most economic collapses don't begin with math. They begin when people stop believing in each other. They begin when people stop trusting institutions. They begin when people stop trusting money. For Al-Ghazali, money is not a mechanical object. Money is a moral ecosystem. Fear, greed, ambition, shortcuts. Everyone does it, excuses. All of it grows around money. That's why fixing an economy isn't only about interest rates or budgets. It's also about fixing incentives, rewarding honesty, rebuilding trust. And this warning from 1,000 years ago is still alive today. If money disconnects from morality, the system will eventually collapse. If this video gave you a new perspective, don't forget to subscribe. And write this in the comments: money equals trust.